Okay, so I'm fully aware that there is a MLP fan horror creepypasta video game flash game out there called Story of the Blanks, and obviously, yes, that is the first, the actual original story of the Blanks. But hey, I can't play that. It's a flash game. I literally just can't play that. So this is literally my only way of ever like experiencing the story. So yeah, got my whole box of freaking cookies.
The evening sun hung low in the sky,
Did it really?
drenching the rolling hills of Ponyville's countryside in its light. The trees and grass all lay still and calm near the dirt path toward town. A small cream-colored shape peeked over the horizon, bouncing along merrily.
Bro!
Little Apple Bloom's pink bow bobbed up and down as she trotted home, humming a tune and thinking about today's activities.
Poor Apple Bloom.
She and the other Cutie Mark Crusaders had been taken to the park that day by Sweetie Belle's older sister, Rarity. But now it was time for Apple Bloom to return home to Sweet Apple Acres.
Yeah.
The tiny
You should
earth
probably go
pony
home.
slowed as she neared a fork in the road. An odd-looking signpost was stuck in the ground. She stopped to look at both signs adorning it.
What does
Under
this
an
sign
arrow
say?
pointing right, Ponyville. Under an arrow pointing left, Everfree Forest, and a painting of something white that resolved into a pony's skull when she tilted her head to one side.
Okay.
Apple Bloom shrugged and turned in the direction of Ponyville.
Yeah, let's just go
Before
towards
she
the
started
skull.
trotting, however, she noticed another pony approaching from that direction, clearly having
it's the
come from
fuzz!
town.
Get
It was
down!
Twilight Sparkle. The purple unicorn wore a pair of saddlebags on her
It's the
sides,
boppers.
and she smiled as she approached Apple Bloom standing in the middle of the road.
Good evening, Apple Bloom. What's a little filly like you doing out here all alone? Shouldn't you be home already?
Nah, I'm good.
Have you
I'm
been busy
fine.
looking for your special talent with your friends again today?
No,
Twilight.
not
Apple
really.
Bloom squeaked happily.
Sure I was.
I'm just
Sweetie
been
Belle,
bored with
Scoodle,
it.
and me had a club meeting, and we tried all sorts of things to get our cutie marks. I was just on my way home from the park.
What
You
kind
wouldn't
of
believe
things?
what happened there today. We were trying to navigate our way from the clubhouse with a compass to get our map reading cutie marks.
Actually, I'm sure I would believe it. No need to tell me. I was just...
Twilight tried to interrupt Apple Bloom's story, but she wasn't fast enough.
And before we knew it, we were all turned around, so Sweetie Belle thought we got lost.
Uh-huh.
And we found a wild boar with
yeah,
piglets who chased us, and we hit up a tree. But
Yeah.
the tree was all sticky with sap, and I recognized
Yeah.
what kind of tree it was because,
Sure.
well, we didn't have much else to do while we waited
Whoa,
for
really?
Laura and her family to leave. And so
Dude,
Scoodle
what?
yells, "Cutie Mark Crusader Park Rangers!" because she thought
Whoa.
the tingling in her butt was her getting her cutie mark.
Wow.
Only it was actually poison ivy rash.
I'm sure
Pretty
that was
cool.
very fun.
And so when I made a noise to get the boar to leave, Scoodle was all grumpy, and
Dang.
she's like, "That's not what a bear sounds like, Apple Bloom." And I was all, "Well, of course not. I was making the noise of a timber wolf."
Apple Bloom, I really need to...
Eventually, the
I
boar
thought you
left,
said
and we
dinner
got
roll.
down and just found the road to the park instead of going cross country. But Scoodle was all itchy, so we thought we'd try making a potion or a salve or something
What
from
is the
leaf
quarrel?
growing along the roadside like you do, Twilight, to make her not itch so much.
Well, Apple Bloom, that all sounds very interesting, but I really need to get going.
Twilight
sure.
stated bluntly
Sounds
as
very,
she
very
turned to
intriguing.
leave. Apple Bloom trotted along behind her, continuing her story even as she lost Twilight's attention.
And she said she was allergic to all the leaves we tried to use. Every last one. Can you believe that?
No,
Eventually, she went
I-
home and said her aunts are going to put lotion
I
on her
can't.
foot to stop it itching. And she wants a cutie mark and using a flamethrower on poison ivy.
Just wait,
Apple Bloom
flamethrower and
finished
poison
with a
ivy.
chuckle before she realized Twilight had walked away.
Burn
She
the
quickly trotted
plants.
after her.
Burn them.
Where you going, Twilight?
Twilight looked up as she trotted.
Oh, I'm heading to Zikora's to deliver some books and natural herbs in the area.
Zakora is going to be
I
very,
need to hurry.
very vital to
I
this
really
story.
don't want to be out after dark. There have been sightings of a manticore a little too close to town lately, and Fluttershy said it's best to stay home until it moves along of its own accord. Technically, I should have done this hours ago, but
Zikora?
I was so engrossed in my own reading that I lost track of time. She said
Zakora
she
is
wants
going to
to
be
today,
so
though,
important to the story.
I
can
have
tell.
to hurry.
The sun
I'm
was
calling it
just
now.
beginning to touch the treetops as it sank lower in the sky. Twilight looked at it with a frown.
Oh, can I come with you?
Apple Bloom asked excitedly, bounding with each step as she followed the older mare. Twilight stopped at the request, turning to look at the filly.
I'm
What
sorry,
you talking
Apple,
about?
but the Everfree Forest is really no place for a little filly like you. It's
Come
dangerous.
on. Come
Apple
on.
Bloom frowned.
But I'm not that small, and I can be
she's
super
gonna-
careful.
she's
If I
gonna
go
go
home,
to the
I'll have
forest.
to do
She's gonna get
chores. But if I
lost.
say I'm doing a chore with you, Granny Smith might let me off mine. Please, 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 please,
You're gonna get lost in the forest. You're gonna
Apple
find the
Bloom
town
hopped
of
up
the
and down
blank
in place.
flames.
Please, 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 please.
Twilight shook her head despite the barrage.
You're gonna die.
Sorry, Apple Bloom, but I really don't think.
Before Twilight could finish, Apple Bloom plopped down on her haunches and inhaled deeply. Her eyes grew adorably wide as she let loose.
Please.
Do you want to die? I don't. Oh my. Shush.
It's just too.
Please.
There's just
Shush
too
up,
many.
Discord.
Your sister would kill me.
Please.
All right, enough. You can come with me.
Twilight shouted, trying
Twilight,
to hold
you
the
just killed
filly's
the filly, you
seemingly
idiot.
never-ending whine. Apple Bloom stopped immediately and hopped to her hooves, ready to go with a smile.
Why did you do that?
Great.
But you have to promise to stay right by my side the whole time, okay?
It's not gonna work.
Promise. Thank you, Twilight. Let's go.
You're so dumb.
Apple Bloom stayed cheerfully next to Twilight as the pair trotted
I'm
toward
kidding.
the entrance to the Everfree Forest.
I'm kidding, alright?
The
I'm kidding.
forest loomed over the two ponies as they approached. Shadows danced with the evening glow from the sun shining through the canopy. Apple Bloom marveled at the sight as she followed Twilight through the gap in the tree line. Every pony was always saying so many horrible things about the Everfree Forest,
Yeah, because
but Apple
it's...
Bloom never let any of those stories
the
scare
forest.
her much. She had been here before, during the whole confusion between Zecora and her sister's
Forests
friends.
are
and
scary.
she never felt like the forest was menacing or scary.
Well, it's a
Rather,
forest,
she
though.
always felt it was a beautiful mystery, like a treasure chest
But it's
awaiting a young heroine to open it and plumb its secrets.
But it's a forest.
Twilight and Apple Bloom had travelled a ways before turning down a new branching path. Apple Bloom already knew the way to Zecora's, but nonetheless let Twilight lead. The leaves of the trees rustled and swayed as a gust of wind blew by, stirring some of the creatures above. Apple Bloom couldn't take it all in fast enough, her eyes and head darting from one side to the other as she tried to see every detail
Oh,
of
those
the
are two
forest.
mushrooms.
Chirping birds,
I was looking at the
small
two
critters
mushrooms in the
skittering
background.
between bushes,
I thought that was a
exotic
pony.
flowers and plants that she'd never seen before. The
Kinda looks
magic
like
of
it.
discovery
Nah,
and
you squint your
adventure
eyes.
was everywhere in Apple Bloom's mind.
Be careful where you tread, Apple Bloom. You don't want to get poison joke pollen on you.
Apple Bloom had become so enamored by the Everfree Forest that she hadn't noticed they had reached the final landmark before Zecora's home.
The
They were
poison
swiftly
joke.
approaching a large blue field of flowers known as Poison Joke. Just one touch of the luscious lilies would afflict the unfortunate pony in question.
It's going to
with
be
a
important to
cruel
the
magical
story.
prank.
I'm
Don't
calling
touch them
everything
and stay on
out.
the path.
Apple Bloom rolled her eyes at the unnecessary
I'm
reminder.
gonna call everything out in the
I
story.
know. You act like I weren't there last time.
After passing
the
through
all-wise.
the
I know
poison
what's
joke,
gonna happen.
Zecora's home was finally coming into view. A large, gnarled old tree that had been hollowed out into a hut.
Is
It
that
sat alone amidst a
Zecora's?
clearing in the trees. A small fire was blowing puffs of smoke out of her chimney. Tied up on one of the
Fire!
hut's branches were glass bottles of various shapes, sizes, and colours. Some contained mysterious liquids and potions, but most were empty. Along with the bottles, numerous wooden masks were strewn about Zecora's yard. They were carved and painted in the fashion of Zecora's homeland. To someone not in the know, the masks might have seemed menacing, but Apple Bloom knew they only meant to welcome travellers.
What's more
Twilight
welcoming than a
knocked hoof on
scary
the door,
face staring
while
you
Apple
in the
Bloom stood
eyes?
behind her, admiring one of the masks closest to the doorstep.
Cool mask.
She
Got
reached
any
out a
more?
hoof to touch it, only to be stopped by the sound of a turning doorknob. The zebra enchantress only
The
cracked
zebra?
the door at first, and then swung it wide after seeing her friends.
Hello and welcome, my pony friends. What brings you here so close to day's end?
Hey, there's
Okay, just a quick little thing I will say here. I don't like Zecora that much. Yeah, you heard me right. You heard me right. I don't like Zecora that much. I don't know. I just think Zecora is like, I don't know. I just don't like the feel of it.
Hey there, Sakura. I'm just here to drop off these books you wanted.
Twilight's horn began to glow. Out of her saddlebags levitated 2 books, one with a green cover and the other blue.
I am so sorry I'm late bringing them over.
Let me guess. You got distracted as you found yourself impacted by the thing that you were reading.
Zecora smiled.
You didn't.
But the expression did not last.
You didn't rhyme.
Friend Twilight, it bears repeating.
Okay,
as
there we go.
much as I require each tome. In
Okay.
these woods, you should not roam.
We're good.
At
She
night,
rhymed.
the forest brings much trouble. Back to Ponyville on the double.
The books floated
don't
inside the hut and
get out
placed
the
themselves
forest.
on a table.
It's okay, Sakura. I've recently been studying some self-defense spells that I can use if anything crosses our path on our way out of the Everfree.
Bro,
And Fluttershy says that if that Manticore is around, loud noises are likely to make it keep its distance.
Apple Bloom is
The
going to
Everfree
die, you
shields many
idiot.
creatures who have monstrous, evil features. Not all are mere beasts, Twilight. Please go home before it is night. Thank you for delivering what you told.
Twilight opened her mouth to reply, but was cut off suddenly by the immediate shift in Zecora's demeanor.
But you should not stay for what will unfold.
What will unfold?
Apple Bloom asked. She knew she should probably stay
Death.
quiet, but something in Zecora's tone told her the zebra knew more than she was letting on. The zebra looked down at Apple Bloom with a grim stare that made the filly shrink back behind Twilight.
Not all threats out here are alive.
Alive?
In the
What?
Everfree, many things can thrive. The
You mean
forest's
plants?
magic is strong and wild. You
Oh.
should know to fear it, child. Some
child?
nights here are special, some forbidden. For some nights things walk here that all other nights are hidden. Hurry back to Ponyville, you must. The darkness this night you cannot trust.
Bro, I didn't understand a single word you just said.
Zecora had shut the door on them.
Oh.
Inside, they could hear locks being set.
Dude, she is hankering in.
Okay.
She's
That was weird.
buckling in.
Twilight raised an eyebrow.
Still, I guess she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She shrugged and turned, heading back into the forest.
They should probably
Apple Bloom, let's
skedaddle.
go.
Apple Bloom had not moved from her spot on the stairs.
Bro,
What
why?
the heck did that mean, though?
Yo!
I've never seen Zecora act like
It
that.
means go to
Sakura doesn't want us
Ponyville.
staying in the woods after dark. That's good enough for me.
Means
She's never
run.
ever given us bad advice before. I trust her word. Come on.
But the things she said, what'd she mean?
It means
All threats
run.
out here are alive? What the heck does that mean?
Zombies.
Are we gonna get attacked by rocks or something? That don't make any sense.
Sakura always makes sense
Rocks.
eventually. I'm sure she had a good reason for what she said.
Apple Bloom sighed and followed, staring
you.
at the ground in thought. A cool, insistent breeze had picked up after the two had left
Oh
Zecora's
no,
home.
got the breeze.
Blew gently through Apple Bloom's red mane and tail
Oh,
as the
God.
poison joke came back into view.
Oh, there
The
we
little
go.
filly once again took to scanning the forest and taking in the sights,
Mentioned
wondering
the
what
joke
Zecora
again.
could have meant. Everything in the Everfree was alive. Trees, grass, plants, birds, insects, animals. Even the poison joke flowers around here were all...
They mentioned it.
Apple Bloom
Whoa,
stopped
whoa, whoa, whoa,
suddenly,
whoa, 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 what was that?
swearing she had just seen something beyond the poison joke. A pair of
Yellow
eyes
eyeballs.
staring at her, there blinking, and then suddenly gone.
Menacing.
She paused for a long time.
Get a bit of
Enough that
air. Get a
Twilight
bit of-
turned around and tapped a hoof impatiently at the little
Got a bit
pony.
of squirrel.
Apple Bloom, it's getting dark. What in Celestia's name are you waiting for?
I saw
I
a
thought I saw some
squirrel.
pony out there.
Apple Bloom pointed a hoof to the other side of the poison joke field.
I saw a
It was
squirrel.
probably just a squirrel or bird. Come on.
Weren't like no squirrel or bird I've ever seen.
Apple Bloom grumbled
Oh my
under
God.
her breath. Twilight began trotting again, Apple Bloom following suit. She was forced to stop, though, as she collided with Twilight's rump, whinnying in frustration.
Damn, alright.
Now why are you stopping?
Apple Bloom asked, but needed no response.
She saw the squirrel.
There, in front of the two ponies,
It was a
lay
squirrel.
a massive fallen tree. It was far too big to climb over. and was
Bruh.
so long it completely blocked what little path there was.
Magic.
Twilight was dumbstruck.
Magic.
Now, how in the name of Equestria did this
Blast it.
get here? It wasn't here when we
Blast
came
it.
this way before, and we would have heard the crash of it falling all the way from Zikora's house.
I don't know, Guru.
Applebloom glanced around the area nervously.
You don't think it was ghosts?
For
She
zombies.
leaned down low and looked over the poison joke fields with a shiver.
Maybe that's what Zikora meant.
Oh, Applebloom, don't be silly. There's no such thing as ghosts.
Or
Twilight assured
curses.
her, bracing herself as her horn began to glow a pale, purple light. The fallen tree was enveloped in the glow, levitating into the air slowly.
There's definitely some spirit shenanigans going on here.
With a flick of her head, Twilight sent the large tree hurtling off into the forest with a loud crash.
There you go.
She stopped for a moment, breathing heavily.
That was a lot harder than I thought it'd be. It was really heavy.
It was really
Okay,
heavy.
Applebloom,
Now run.
let's keep...
No sooner
Run.
had Twilight begun to trot again, she was forced to stop. Many more similar trees had been piled directly
Bro,
behind
okay,
the first.
hold on,
and
hold
all
on. Simple solution, just full on sprint back to Zikora's hut, knock on the door, say, hey, can we spend here for the night? Simple, you got
blocked
company.
the path.
Celestia, damn it!
Twilight
Whoa
stomped the ground
there.
with a hoof,
Whoa there,
muttering under her
Twilight.
breath. She glanced behind herself to Applebloom, who was just sitting there, waiting.
Can't you just blast it?
Please don't tell your sister I cussed in front of you.
I won't. Besides, Scoodle said much worse after she sat in the poison ivy.
This is probably gonna take a while for me to clear our path. Don't wander off, okay, Applebloom?
Twilight pleaded as she tried to compose herself for another telekinetic removal of a fallen tree.
Hey, wait. Can't you just teleport us around the trees rather than taking all this time to move them?
Exactly.
Well, yes, I could just teleport both of us out here, but then what will the next pony that needs to visit Zikora's do with all these trees blocking the path?
Okay,
I know it's getting late.
okay. First of all, think about your safety first, rather than ever. Nobody's gonna be going into the forest when it's becoming night. At this time, just get out of the forest, go to sleep. Then the next day, deal with the problem. It's that simple.
But I just can't in good conscience leave the path blocked like this. There's poison joke all around this part of the trail, and I'd feel awful if some pony wandered into it and got pranked by its pollen because I couldn't be bothered to take the time to move a couple of logs.
Twilight seemed
It's
to
not
be
a
working
couple, though.
herself
It's like
into quite
probably
a guilt trip
50.
as she braced to remove another tree trunk.
Okay,
Bro.
okay. It's fine, Twilight. I'm sorry I didn't take all that into account.
And what about Zikora?
She's staying in it for the
Twilight's
night.
magic lifted a tree trunk and swung it sideways, narrowly missing Applebloom's head. She felt her bow quiver in her mane as it whipped by.
With a path
Zikora's
blocked like
guys.
this, I'd be responsible for sealing her only way out of the forest.
All right, Twilight.
Just come
I'm
back in the morning.
just gonna go over here where you can't accidentally brain me while you take care of them there logs.
Name their
Applebloom
logs.
started to sidle out of range of the swinging logs as Twilight continued to talk to herself about all the ways the blocked path could harm other ponies journeying through the Everfree forest. Twilight
This is
was always
stressful.
concerned with every pony's well-being. It made Applebloom respect her all the more. Deciding she was perfectly content to wait further up the path, Applebloom wandered back the way they came from Zikora's while looking at the flowers.
Oh. It's the
Applebloom's
squirrel.
ears twitched. She turned, spotting a face peering at her over the other side of the poison joke. It was the owner of the eyes she had seen before.
Yeah, the
I
squirrel.
knew it wasn't no squirrel or bird.
Bro, it's a
Applebloom
squirrel.
said nothing, taking the chance to get a look at the grey pony. She had a beautiful mane of blonde hair with golden streaks.
Ooh.
And her eyes... Wait. Something was strange about her eyes. They seemed to glow.
Okay, hold on. Before we get any further into this, I will say one thing that thanks to the Friday Night Funkin', Funkin' is Magic mod, I do know a little bit about this story because there was a song about the story of the blanks. So basically all I know is that there's this little Philly girl, there's this town with ponies full of blank flanks, and there's probably going to be a death in monsters. That's That's pretty much all I know.
With a strange golden light. Fascinated, Apple Bloom took a step toward the pony, her hooves stopping just short of the poison joke. The glow from those eyes was dragging Apple Bloom in, both metaphorically and, suddenly, in reality. She felt her world begin to melt around her, only the sight of those lucid golden eyes filling her entire vision. Darkness swirled and blended with the light, painting together a new world that only Apple Bloom could see.
Yo, let's go. It's so shiny and so green. Never mind, it's not shiny anymore.
A little grey filly coughed as she tripped, her chin smacking into the ground. She had been running so fast that her golden blonde mane had fallen in her eyes, making her trip over a rock. A voice called through the bushes.
Ready or not, here I come.
Oh god, it's the fuzz.
As if! I'm the one who's good at finding things, not you!
The grey filly was up and off again.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the thing in the bottom right corner looks like a squirrel.
She skidded to a halt as the trail rounded into a massive field of what looked like blue lilies.
Ooh, pretty!
Forgetting her game, the little filly approached the flowers. They smelled sickly sweet, like rotten cupcake frosting. The scent tickled her nose and made her want to sneeze. Wandering down a ways, away from the smell,
about the sneeze.
she suddenly spotted another thin pathway leading right into the field of flowers. She gasped. She had never seen that before. It was old and almost completely overgrown, but most definitely there. She started to walk towards it. The sound of hooves behind her caused her to turn around.
Ha-ha! Finally caught you.
Bro, I'm about to
Now
sneeze again.
you're it.
A different grey filly, with a mane of such dark red that it was almost maroon in colour, had emerged from the bushes,
Bro, I'm missing
laughing
important
and
story
prancing
here.
about in victory. It took her a moment to realise their game had ended.
Hey, what are you looking at, Ruby?
Minna, come over here! I found a little
Flowers.
path! It looks like it's just big enough that we could walk through it, and if we're careful, we can use it to avoid getting any poison joke pollen on us.
Oh no.
The red-haired filly waved both hooves disapprovingly.
You know the rules. We aren't supposed to go anywhere past the village boundaries.
The
We'll get into
village.
serious trouble if we do.
Why aren't we allowed, though? What's out there?
Town.
The elders say the outside is filled with all sorts of mean ponies and nasty creatures who will hurt us as soon as they look at us.
Okay, so are the
It's
blank
not safe out there. We're only able to live here because the flowers repel them and keep us protected. If we go beyond the flowers, beyond the boundaries,
But don't you want to know what's out there?
no,
No,
I
not
don't.
really.
Come on.
Probably
Let's
just
go
more
back home.
grass and trees and
Minna!
forest.
No, Ruby. It frightens me when you
Water.
say things like that. Someday
Squirrels.
your curiosity is going to get you in serious trouble.
Ah, it was a flashback. I see.
Vertigo and nausea overtook Apple Bloom as she was peeled away from the vision. Just as she was regaining her composure, she saw the mystery pony duck down behind the flowers.
Stop flashing me with your
Apple Bloom
eyes.
teetered forward, almost coming into contact with the joke. She stamped her hooves in frustration, wanting desperately to pursue the pony and find out what had just happened. Yet she
I
knew
wanna
that
catch
Twilight
the
would throw a
squirrel.
fit if she wandered off the path in the Eververy unaccompanied. The path was the only semi-safe place in the whole forest.
Is that blood?
It was only as she turned to return to Twilight's side that Apple Bloom noticed another path through the poison joke field,
Is that blood?
just big enough for a filly to walk down
Bro,
without touching the flowers
why?
on either side.
Why is it big enough just for a filly?
But most definitely there. Apple Bloom
Bro!
hesitated, curiosity pricking.
Bro!
Twilight?
Not now, Apple Bloom.
Bro!
Twilight yelled back as she started levitating another hefty
I'm gonna
tree away.
smack you.
I'm kind of busy here. Please don't tell me that a filly your age can't amuse herself for a few minutes without adult supervision. Didn't you bring a book to read or something?
What?
Bloom
Wow!
looked to the path again,
That's
then
uncalled
back
for.
to Twilight.
The frick? frick?
I'm gonna stay on the path, right?
Of course. What kind of question is that?
Can I walk around a little if I stick to a path?
Sure. That sounds good. Just don't go too far.
Twilight.
It's nearly sunset after all.
That's very uncharacteristic of you,
With a
Twilight.
deep breath,
Hmm.
Apple Bloom stepped onto the path and crossed deeper into the woods. The ever-free forest began to take on a much darker appearance as Apple Bloom
Ooh.
passed through the poison joke field.
Very
The light from
scary.
the setting sun was blocked out by the thick canopy of this new area, and Apple Bloom could barely see 5 feet in front of her. She looked around this new thicket for her mystery pony, hoping whoever it was had not run off completely.
Hello? Are you still there?
Well, you're
No
lost now,
answer.
so.
Hello? Who are you?
No answer.
How are you
Apple Bloom
doing on
looked
this fine
back
day?
the way she had come, where the path seemed enveloped by thorn bushes and briars in the encroaching darkness. She spotted a continuation of the old dirt path she was on, steeled her nerves, and pressed onward, the new trail bending and curving through the forest.
Hello?
Hello?
The deeper Apple Bloom travelled, the darker the forest became. Soon, all of the trees were shrouded in shadow, and only her path was left with increasingly sparse illumination.
Oh gosh. Hello there. How are you doing?
Hello?
I'm doing pretty
Are
good.
you out there?
She paused again, listening. Still no answer. She contemplated turning back, but something kept driving her forward. The memory of that pony's
Idiocracy.
strange golden eyes burned in her mind. Apple Bloom's entire world as her path wound through another thick path of underbrush. She could hardly see her own front hooves as she stumbled over some outreaching roots.
See, now
Something
that's
to
a
her
good
side
sign to tell you
stirred,
that you should probably
rustling
turn
the
back.
bushes. In sudden panic, she galloped forward, tripping over briars and branches. She yelped as she barreled through a particularly nasty patch of thorns.
Say it with me,
only
everybody.
to find herself galloping into a large
Probably
clearing.
a squirrel.
Everything was dark, save for one spot. There, right in front of her, was a light on the edge of the forest. It was bright. So bright, it illuminated the area around it. Apple Bloom ran forward,
It's
expecting
the
an exit.
village.
She jumped through the light with glee. The little earth pony did, in fact, exit the forest, but not into the rolling fields of Ponyville like she had expected.
To a village.
Instead, to her surprise, she had stumbled directly into a
Sunnytown.
different town. One that was
Hey.
completely surrounded on all sides
Sunnytown.
by the ever-free forest.
I like your
Apple Bloom
Sunnytown.
stood, dumbstruck. She had not known there was any other settlement so close to Ponyville.
Miss Shirley never mentioned any place like this in geography lessons.
Geography.
The entire town was illuminated by
So
large
peaceful,
pink
so
party lanterns
nice.
strung all over. To her left were multiple garden plots filled with vegetables and wheat. On the right was a long line of tables overflowing with all sorts of confections and drinks. A stallion trotted past and paused at one of the tables, nudging at the things on it with a critical eye.
Sup?
He was coloured grey, with black mane and tail.
What's everybody
Apple Bloom
gray?
trotted up to him with the eagerness of a scared child who believes adults are the best way to stay safe when afraid. Immediately upon noticing her, the stallion gained an eager smile at her approach.
Sup?
Well, hello there, little filly.
Hey,
The
how you
stallion
doing?
greeted her cheerfully. Apple Bloom forced a smile.
It's with the cake and the balloons and the orange juice.
Thank you, but where is this?
What a question. This
You're
is
in
Sunnytown,
Sunnytown.
of course.
Sunnytown?
You
She
know,
had definitely never heard of the
Sunnytown.
place before.
And who are you? My big sister says I ain't supposed to talk to strangers.
She asked, thinking she should at least learn the pony's name before continuing to figure out where she was.
Hold on. I gotta predict a name here. Jimmy. Jimmy Willikers.
Twilight might be less mad at her wandering off if she
Jimmy
found out
Willikers?
she was able to alter all the maps and geography books in Ponyville's library to accommodate a new town next door.
Jimmy Willikers?
The stallion beamed down at Applebloom.
Ah, then allow me to introduce myself.
Jimmy Willikers?
My name is Greyhoof,
Ah.
party planner extraordinaire.
I knew it.
You've arrived
I
just
knew-
in time, actually. The party's just starting.
Why did I not
Feel
guess
free to
Greyhoof?
help
It's
yourself
so
to
obvious.
anything. Make yourself right at home.
A party?
The place looked eerily empty for a party.
You're a cheese
Pinkie Pie would be
sandwich.
aghast.
Why, yes. Today we're
Why
celebrating
not?
the town's founding anniversary. You're more than welcome to join us too. Have some food and drink.
That's why everything's
Enjoy
going crazy.
yourself.
Because it's the anniversary,
Greyhoof
I see.
never broke his smile the entire conversation. It disturbed Applebloom slightly. She was used to Pinkie Pie's eternal smile. But there was something wrong with Greyhoof's. It did not reach his eyes.
It was fake.
She wished to ask more questions, but he abruptly turned his face away. He trotted over to a stool by a pole to tie up more lanterns.
He's not a
Applebloom's
good
eyes
actor.
went wide as she got a look at his flanks. He had no
Ha
cutie
ha
mark.
ha ha!
Hundreds of questions started buzzing in Applebloom's mind as she took a step back.
Why doesn't he have a cutie mark?
Because
Is that even possible for an adult?
Yeah.
This guy looks almost as old as Big Macintosh. There's no way he could have gone all that time without finding his special talent. Could he? And if he's really as good at parties as he said, shouldn't he have a mark for that like Pinkie Pie does?
Applebloom shook
Well,
her
he's
head,
not cheese sandwich.
deciding to ask Greyhoof more questions. Yet, as she turned to follow him to the tables, her stomach growled loudly.
Eat the sandwich.
She hadn't had anything to eat
Eat the
since
cake.
before the journey to the park with Scootaloo
Eat
and
the
Sweetie Belle.
cupcakes.
She looked at the cupcakes stacked on the tables.
Eat
Her
'em.
stomach growled again, and her mouth began to water.
Steal the
Not
cupcakes.
being one to snub hospitality, Applebloom nabbed a cake from one of the plates and took a big bite.
Haha, you stole the cupcake.
Applebloom spluttered as she
Uh-huh.
spit out her mouthful. It might have looked decadent, but it tasted like mold and dust. She
what'd you
quickly gulped a
eat?
glass of punch, trying to wash away the awful
Hold
taste.
on. Theory time! So, taking in my prior knowledge of this, that everything's gonna go crazy, and that Sunny Town is probably not what it seems, and using the information that Amber Bloom has just taken a bite out of a freaking cupcake, and it tasted like mold and dust, we can infer that when Apple Bloom figures out, has some big epiphany that everything is wrong here, the town just gonna be like, just gonna shift into this old, dusty, worn down, abandoned place, and not all the ponies that look like ponies are gonna be monsters. It's a classic. It is a classic. It is a classic move.
The punch
Are you okay,
was
Apple
bitter
Bloom?
and
Jeez.
flat, too thick to drink, like it had sat out for too long and allowed dust to settle into it.
Haha.
She threw the cup to the ground in disgust.
Ugh! Pinkie Pie would have so much to say about this.
Are you okay, little one?
No.
Applebloom noticed another
No,
pony
not.
sitting on the ground near her table. She had previously been looking off toward one of the houses with a longing expression.
These
Her
also could be
orange mane
ghosts.
shadowing her white face
Spirits
and giving her
of
a
the
mournful
damned.
appearance. Applebloom panicked, thinking maybe this pony had been
Hmm.
the one who made the awful food and drink.
I'm okay. Thank you, though.
The mare nodded.
At least someone is having a good time tonight.
She sighed. Her gaze went back to the
Aww.
house, and the longing expression returned.
Aw.
I'm having an awful time. Simply awful.
Aw, don't be aw.
Why?
He hasn't said a word to me all night.
Your crush?
Pony sighed again,
Crush?
looking longingly to the side.
Cold friend?
Applebloom said nothing. What could she say?
Is it a boy?
She didn't know who he was.
Well,
She
yeah,
followed
what
the
he
new
would. It
pony's
is a
line
boy.
of sight, spotting a home where a cream-colored stallion with a blue mane was sitting on a stoop.
Ah, that must be the he she's talking about.
Definitely a
Applebloom
crush.
crept up on the mare, drawn by her sadness and an innate desire to fix it. Sometimes she really was like Applejack.
Pardon me for interrupting where it ain't my place, ma'am, but why don't you go talk to him?
Oh, no, it wouldn't be proper.
The mare
Proper?
responded with distress in her voice, as if doing that would break some law. She reminded
Romeo and
Applebloom of a
Juliet?
rarity.
What do you mean? Can't you just go say hi like a normal pony?
The white mare shook her head, drooping back down.
You're too young to understand.
Too young.
Applebloom stamped her hoof in annoyance. She hated being told that.
I know,
I
right?
ain't
I
too
feel
young.
you. I
Do
feel
you
you.
want him to be your special sun pony or something?
Gee, crush.
Such innocence.
mare
You're innocent.
Special sun pony. Yes, I suppose that would be one way of putting it. But you'll learn as you get older that such things are far more complicated than they seem.
Bro.
Have you even
bro.
tried talking to him at all?
Her only response was another sigh.
I'm gonna smack
Applebloom
you.
snorted. Well, if this mare wasn't going to talk, maybe the stallion would. She
Haha.
turned to tell the mare that she was
Yeah.
going to speak to him and show her how easy it was, when the words died in her throat.
She gonna go
mare's
talk to him?
flank was blank.
No
As
cutie
a-
mark again?
Yep.
How weird.
It's the town of blank flanks, bro.
Applebloom approached the blue-haired stallion. He looked up at her approach, wearing the same longing look as the mare she had just left.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Oh, hello.
He said, deflated.
Smack him in the
Applebloom
face,
got right to
turn
the
him
point.
around,
Hi,
and tell
who
him
are
go
you and
talk
what's
to the
wrong?
goddamn girl.
My name is Romeo. And,
Wait, Romeo?
see that mare over there?
Did he just say
He
Romeo?
pointed a
Oh my.
hoof to the white mare from a moment ago.
Her name is Starlet. And I was
Starlet.
planning to give her a gift tonight. But somehow I lost track of it. Now it's lost somewhere in the town, and I won't be able to give it to her.
Fetch quest.
It was so pretty, too.
I can see where the video game
trailed off,
aspect comes in.
sighing and hanging his head. Applebloom rolled her eyes at the pathetic stallion.
Well,
things gonna
she
get
told
crazy
me
in the
she
town, I
really
guess.
wants to talk to you, but she's worried about looking proper, so she won't make the first move. Why don't you just go say hi?
Exactly.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. Not without my gift.
But she just told me she wanted you to talk to her. I'm sure she doesn't care about some crummy old gift.
Please,
Yeah, bro.
don't toy with me. Starlet is the classiest mare in town. A plain pony like me doesn't stand a chance with her unless I bring a trump card. Please, leave me alone.
Applebloom tried to press further, but the stallion wouldn't respond.
This is painful.
With an angry huff, she walked off, leaving the lovesick pony to wallow in his grief. Perhaps she would come back later, when she wasn't so frustrated with the pair of them.
Find the gift.
For now, her frustration was too high, and she wanted to see more of this strange town she had apparently been living next to all her life without knowing it.
You gotta find that gift.
Applebloom passed by a few groups of ponies, all seemingly enjoying their party. Something wasn't right, though. Every single pony in this town appeared to have no cutie mark. Applebloom wanted desperately to know why.
Is this why I've never heard of this place? Do all ponies in Equestria who never got their cutie marks eventually come and live here? Away from normal ponies who got their marks?
Oh, that would be creepy. Oh, that
The
would
thought was a
suck.
depressing one, and slightly terrifying when she next thought.
If I never
Ooh.
find my special talent, will I have to come live here too?
Oh, that's terrifying.
She spotted a stallion
Ooh.
standing alone near the town's well. She galloped up to him. He wore a smile on his face.
Of course
He
he
was
did.
light brown, with a tan-colored mane that got into his eyes when he spoke energetically.
Hi there, little filly.
Sup?
Haven't seen you around here before.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess I don't know every golden filly in town, do I?
Yeah.
Nope, I don't.
There was something
You're not Pinkie Pie.
odd about the way he talked. A nervousness rumbling under the surface of his seemingly cheery tone, as if he was worried he wasn't being cheerful enough.
Excuse me,
There's definitely some
Applebloom
leader
tried
here.
to ask nicely.
why don't any of y'all have any cutie marks? This whole town is full of blank flanks.
The stallion chuckled.
Okay, second theory time. I feel like there's some leader or something. There's definitely like a lead, like spirit or pony here that is just controlling the whole entire town, and where they just cannot. The leader refuses to allow them to, get cutie marks. That's my guess.
Chuckled to himself as he regarded the little pony.
Cutie what's-its? I really don't know what you're talking about, little one.
Yes,
My name's
you
Gladstone,
do.
by the way. Nice to meet you.
What's up?
His weirdly happy tone made Apple Bloom uncomfortable. It almost felt like this happiness was forced, as if the stallion was trying to hide his real emotions.
It is.
Apple Bloom stared him down, stretching her little legs to try and seem tougher and bigger.
Oh, come on! You know what a cutie mark is.
Yeah.
It's the rump mark every pony receives when they find out what makes them special.
She had to know if this village was the place all blank flanks eventually ended up if they never found their talents.
Don't none of you have them here?
Her prying was starting to get the better of Gladstone. Beads of sweat were forming on his brow as his eyes darted away from her for a moment.
Run.
Nope. Can't say I've ever seen any pony here with a cutie mark.
The cheerfulness in his voice cracked across the last statement, like a weak pane of glass.
Why does that even matter anyway? Come on, have some fun. It's a party after all.
With that, he turned tail
man.
and galloped away, tail tucked between his legs like a kicked dog,
I love this
ending
mystery.
Apple Bloom's interrogation.
I love this
She
mystery.
watched as he ran for the safety of a herd of ponies by a table. Before he could slip away completely, Apple Bloom noticed something strange on his flanks. It was neither a cutie mark nor a blank flank, though.
It's an equal sign.
It looked more like a nasty burn. She might have assumed it was an accident, except it adorned both sides of his flank.
Burn the cutie mark off?
Apple Bloom's brow furrowed with a mixture of frustration and contemplation.
Oh, that's terrifying.
She moved on,
Oh.
new questions now needing answers, as she spotted another lone pony ripe for her questioning. This one was an earthy green with darker green hair and sat by the edge of the forest. Apple Bloom decided this time she'd be less direct as she trotted up. Hopefully, that way she would get her answers before she scared the pony off.
Walks up.
Hello
Hey, do you know
there.
what a cutie mark is?
I'm Apple Bloom. I didn't know there was an entire town of ponies living in the middle of the ever-free forest.
She forced a smile, trying her best to seem as innocent as she could. The green mare giggled and patted Apple Bloom on her head with a hoof.
That's because you're an idiot.
Well,
No, I'm just kidding.
You're not the first visitor to say that, little one. My name's Three Leaf. We got just about everything we need here in our town, so we rarely ever leave. Visitors are so nice when they manage to come by, though. And
You
they
can't
usually
leave,
like
though.
it here so much that they too rarely leave once they arrive.
Oh.
How are you enjoying it here?
That's a bad sign.
Visitors stayed here
The red
once
flag.
they arrived.
That's a huge
Maybe
red
because
flag.
they, too, were blank flanks and stayed in the village where all blank flanks eventually had to go. That seemed to confirm Apple Bloom's fears. Three Leaf seemed nice, though, so Apple Bloom
Free
continued.
Leaf, not Bailey.
Oh, you guys are all so friendly, and the party food sure is delicious.
She hoped her sister would forgive her lies.
But I was wondering something.
Oh, what were you wondering, darling?
Well, I couldn't help but notice none of y'all have your cutie marks. Why is that?
Three Leaf tilted her head, smiling quizzically.
Cutie marks? What are those?
The freak is a cutie mark.
Like a little symbol to show what your super special talent is?
Oh, around here we just call our super special talents jobs, darling.
Job.
Gosh, what
It's
an
a job.
adorable way of putting it. You kids, always so adorable.
I'm gonna smack you.
Never mind.
She decided to drop the question. Instead, she moved on to a new one.
How about that feller?
She pointed to Gladstone.
What's up with him?
What happened to his flanks?
Three Leafs
Yeah, why
happy
is it
demeanor
burnt?
held. but Apple Bloom noticed her eyes twitch ever so slightly.
Oh, Gladstone? Well, you know, he's very clumsy.
Three Leaf's ditzy air faltered into an anxious stammer. Apple Bloom frowned at her as she stumbled on.
And yes, he was fixing the old well on the outer rim of the town. He's probably the best repair stallion we have, but he slipped and cut himself on a jagged rock in the wall of the well. He bled quite a bit, but thankfully some pony found him. He couldn't walk for a month. Poor guy.
Three Leaf's face returned to a goofy grin.
Yeah, I
He's
don't...
a good repair pony, huh? Then why hasn't he gotten his cutie mark for that?
Three Leaf seemed to shrink from Apple Bloom's penetrating glare.
And what about all those visitors you mentioned earlier? Did they all arrive here without any marks too?
Yeah.
Apple Bloom realized she had barraged
question.
Three Leaf to the point she had backed up to the tree line. Three Leaf had lost any remaining air of lightheartedness. Her back now pressed fully against the tree trunk as Apple Bloom stared her down. Three Leaf's eyes darted back and forth. Apple Bloom pointed to her own flank.
I'm a blank flank. You're a blank flank. This whole town is full of blank flanks. Why?
Going on here? Answer the damn
question.
question.
Whimper, Three Leaf motioned Apple Bloom closer and spoke to her in almost a frantic whisper.
Look, darling, you won't like what might happen if you keep digging. These curse marks are evil, and no one in this town is allowed to even discuss them. I could get into trouble for even mentioning them out loud. But if you go around shouting about them and asking so many questions, you'll end up like...
Oh, Three Leaf! Would you mind giving me a hoof with these party lanterns, please?
Greyhoof had appeared as if out of nowhere behind the pair. He was carrying some more pink lanterns on his back. His mouth wore a smile. His eyes didn't share. His gaze fixed on Three Leaf. Three Leaf immediately stood, backing away from Apple Bloom.
Oh, of course, Greyhoof!
Absolutely!
No, think nothing of it. I was just talking with our little visitor here, but we can always continue the conversation later.
Or not.
It's not like we were talking about anything important.
Yeah, just leave now. You
right,
know, just run.
Three Leaf mumbled weakly, following Greyhoof away. Before they got out of sight, Apple Bloom clearly saw Greyhoof's smile fade as he glared and said something angrily to Three Leaf. She hoped that she hadn't just gotten the mare into too much trouble. Sighing, Apple Bloom wandered back to the well in the middle of town. Hopping onto a rock near its base, Apple Bloom slumped onto the well's edge in despair, having even more questions than she knew what to do with now.
Bro, just...
What the hey were curse marks? Is that what this town thought a cutie mark was? A curse? Apple Bloom was sure that had to be the correlation. Curse mark and cutie mark. The two sounded far too similar. There was also no way this town could have been inhabited by only blank flanks generation after generation. If they had all been born here, some pony in the town had to have gotten a cutie mark at some point.
That is true.
The only reasonable explanation was that ponies came to the town from outside and stayed here among the blank flanks already here, away from the rest of pony society.
But it can't be impossible for adult ponies to get their cutie marks real late in life,
she thought desperately to herself.
So if a pony here gets their cutie mark late, do they have to move out? Go back where they came from?
What became of any pony who got their cutie mark after moving here? Apple Bloom began to wonder what the town might do with ponies who found their marks.
Bro, my brain is chugging.
Seeing as they called them curse marks, she couldn't imagine the reaction was good. Maybe they sent those ponies away, forced them to roam the Everfree Forest forever, and not let them come back if they had no place else to go in Equestria.
Would be better than Sunnytown, am I right?
As more and more questions continued to churn in Apple Bloom's little mind, her eyes wandered to the water of the well.
Water?
Even at its great depth, the water sparkled with the light from the party. Glistening rays of light struck the well's walls from the pool below and danced for the little filly.
What's in the well?
It soothed her, and her mind quieted.
Huh?
A stray beam of light made something red flash at Apple Bloom.
What's
It was
in the
close
well?
to the top, glinting again as Apple Bloom leaned down.
Is it a
She
coin?
reached out a hoof, stretching out her foreleg as far as it could go without slipping. She just barely managed to snatch the small object, giving it a tug.
What
It
is that?
broke loose, and Apple Bloom went tumbling off her perch to the ground.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
A
What is it?
ruby?
Ruby.
Apple Bloom
Whoa.
marveled at her prize as she
Gonna
sat
get
up.
some bits for
The
that.
small gemstone immediately began to sparkle and shine in the light. It felt rough and huge in Apple Bloom's little hooves. Had this just been growing in the side of the well?
Growing.
As Apple Bloom rubbed off some of the damp dirt on the stone, she felt a twinge course through her spine.
Oh no.
Suddenly, she felt dizzy, her
Oh.
vision beginning to spin.
Well, you're dead
as
now. You're
shadows
trapped. You're
and
done.
light
You're trapped.
enveloped her.
You're gone. Bye bye, Apple Bloom. It was nice knowing you. Or maybe another vision.
A grey mare with a blonde and gold mane sat in front
Another
of a
vision.
vanity mirror. She brushed her hair, looking down at a little box. Putting down her comb, she reached for the box, lifting its lid to reveal its contents.
It's a
A couple
squirrel.
of marbles, random rusty coins, a large metal bolt, and a tarnished bobbin. The box was full of junk. Only to her, it wasn't junk. These were her treasures. All the things in this box she had found, hidden and stashed around town in the most unusual of places. Now she had one more to add. She reached a hoof into her tail, tugging out a large red gem. The
Ruby.
jewel sparkled in the candlelight as she smiled at it. Her friends always told her she had a knack for finding the most bizarre objects and noticing things no pony else would have even bothered with. A knock came
fun.
on the door. The mare quickly stuffed the gem in her box and closed it, turning.
Come on in, Reneo.
Reneo.
Cream-coloured stallion with the blue
Romeo,
mane and
Reneo.
tail opened the door and stepped meekly inside. The mare at the vanity mirror greeted him, and he returned it with a jerky nod.
So what's going on?
Oh, well, I wanted to say thanks for the other day. You telling me to say hi to Starlet. Or, that is...
He turned his gaze
Yeah.
to the floor. The mare chuckled.
Wait,
So it went
what?
well? What happened?
Whoa, wait a minute.
His nervous manner changed dramatically at the question.
Oh, it was so nice. I said hi, and she said hi back. We walked a little bit down the street, and she mentioned she was going to the town anniversary party. I said I was thinking about going too, so she said she'd love to see me there. She said love. Do you think she likes me?
The mare had to laugh further at his sudden rush of words.
Dude.
Well, maybe. You like her, don't you?
Yes.
He spoke.
Dude, this is so
longingly,
interesting.
his eyes lovesick.
Then all you have to do is spend a little more time with her. If she likes you back, it should show.
Walk up
She
there
paused, looking
and
at
say
the
hello.
box. She smirked and popped the lid open, grabbing out the red stone she had just put in it.
And this will give you a little boost.
It's the gift.
Hopping off her chair, the mare walked over and
Yes.
placed the gemstone in his hooves.
Gift the
He
gene.
looked at the gift, stunned.
You're just going to give this to me? To get the Starlet?
Sure. It's just something I found laying around the edge of town. I think an animal must have dug it up and left it when it realized the thing isn't edible. It's no big deal.
Squirrel
Give it to her at
probably
the
loved
party.
it there.
She'll never expect it.
His eyes lit up with joy. He thanked her and lavished her with praise as he exited. He took one final bow before
Good Tims.
leaving,
Good Tims all
renewed
around.
pep in his step as he prepared for his next encounter.
Oh yeah.
She giggled again, sitting back down at her mirror and taking up her brush.
Good at finding treasures, now good at finding friendships and romance. I really do have a talent for finding things.
Talent. Okay, so this girl, this very important filly or girl or whatever, was here just a day ago. Where did she go? Where is she? Oh, it's night now. Oh no. Oh no. Dude, Twilight's probably worried sick about you.
Staring up into the night sky over Sunnytown. That vision had taken a lot longer than the last one, and she wasn't sure how long she had been out of it. No pony seemed to care that the little filly had just been lying there on her back in the grass unconscious.
Give
Twilight's gonna kill me extra specially dead when I get back to her.
To Renoa or whatever.
Apple Bloom lifted the ruby up again, turning it over. Three Leaf had warned her to stop meddling, but now she had a clear path to take. So what was she going to do?
Bro. Give the ruby to the guy and frickin' bolt out the forest like you're on
imagined how
fire.
Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo would react if they had been in her place.
Cutie Mark are your detectives! Yay!
Ponyville Mysteries.
Apple Bloom smiled to herself. That's just what she'd do. She'd dig deeper and unravel this mystery. Surely some pony in this town would give her a straight answer eventually, and then she could present her findings to Twilight and perhaps mitigate her punishment. And really, how much more trouble could she honestly get into here that she wasn't already going to face when Twilight took her home and her family found out she had wandered off into the Everfree Forest by herself?
Why would you, okay, well, is that the first part? Cool. That is, that's cool. That's a cool hanging light bulb. That is a cool fade out to be continued. Cool. That is the first part of the story of the Blinks. Count me intrigued. I am very intrigued. I am like absolutely intrigued. I am. Whew. I got nothing.